there are many stories. People would come up to her and say that you cannot afford this sport and things like that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Winning Story, your one stop platform for credible sports news and inspiring tales. Today, we have with us one of India's most prominent and successful tennis player, Ankita Raina. So, without any further ado, let's all welcome her to the show. So, hi, Ankita, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
First of all, congratulations on a successful run at the Billie Jean Cup. And we would like to understand what you're up to currently. Where are you? Are you competing?
I'm currently playing tournaments. Yes, I'm competing in Europe. We have couple events here. So at the moment, I'm traveling for that.
So, Ankita, you've had one of the most remarkable journeys in tennis, like Indian tennis, and I would say that you have played a very pivotal role in its success. So, we would like to understand your story, how things started. So, let's go back in time. When was the first time that you actually believed that, tennis was something that you wanted to do?
I would say it was when I first got selected in the junior Indian team, which was the under 16 team. And, that's when it sort of felt that this could be for life because it was a goal, it was a dream. Because otherwise, as kids, you're so much, you don't think or look so much in the future, and you're just in the present, enjoying that moment. So I would say probably when I got selected in the under 16 Indian team.
So, you've grown up in Ahmedabad and you don't come from a very sporting family. So, how did you take up sports? Like, what exactly was the switch that you decided, okay, this is something different that I want to do from everybody else?
So, my mother has been a huge sports enthusiast, and I have an elder brother. He started playing first, and coincidentally, in Ahmedabad, we had a tennis academy named Ageta right behind our house. Like, could literally see it from the window, tennis courts. So that's how we choose. I mean, we didn't. My mother didn't specifically have that knowledge of tennis or any other sport, but she herself had taken part in table tennis and athletics when she was in university. So I think that's where somewhere the fire ignited in her for her children.
So, you have been traveling, I think, since the age of 13, right? It's like you have always been on tour. How was it like? How did you cope living away with family? Because as a 13-year-old, imagining living in a different country, and mind you, it was not just a different country, but with different temperaments, temperatures, not having those people around. Because we've always seen your mother support you everywhere. So, how did you, like, what were your struggles? How did you cope with them?
Yeah, you're actually right. I started traveling alone when I first started to travel for tournaments for competition when I think I was around 12 or 14. And I would say, like, for 10 years at least, I was traveling by myself because, tennis is an expensive sport. But also, like, when I started training in Pune, I had my mother's uncle there. So, had some family, maybe around I think 2007 or 6 when I had like small stints of training in Pune. And then my mother, she got transferred. She used to work. She was working in a government firm, and then she got transferred at least like to support me while I was training there.
And we have seen couple of times you have spoken about how you had to have to travel alone. You've traveled without a coach or without a sponsor. So what were the financial constraints that you experienced throughout your career, and how did you tackle them?
Yeah, definitely went through that part, like coming from a humble background, and both my parents used to work. So, sponsorship is something that is very crucial in tennis. But I would also say that I've been fortunate and grateful because I've had the right kind of support at the right time. So, when I was junior, like around when I was under 12, under 14, I got my first support, or you can say sponsorship, from Mr. J.R. Vyas of Deshman Pharmaceutical. So back then, I don't know how he did have some knowledge of tennis, because he did support me. And when I played this Asian Masters under 14 series, they had couple tournaments in Asia like Jordan, Syria, Thailand, and then they had a ranking where they would take top 8 players. So when I played one of those events, and I think I did well, I made finals or I won in Syria or Jordan. And when I came back with the trophy, so he told me that one day you will play Wimbledon. So, back then, having someone who had that vision. And then, of course, in 2013, when I first became India number one, um, in the Gujarat Government Sports Authority of Gujarat, especially, there was Mr. Pradhan. Pradhan sir was also in SAI later. So when I was training in Pune, I also got support from Lakshya Foundation, and through that I had Bharat Foj who were supporting me. And in that committee, Pradhan sir was there, and he had been moved to Gujarat. So when I first became India number one, and I went to meet him after this occasion, and it so happened that we got an appointment with the CM back then of Gujarat, and now the Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji. And I told him that I'm the only player playing tennis from Gujarat and also becoming number one from Gujarat, and I will be needing the support because most of the tournaments now I have to play abroad to improve my ranking and to qualify for the slam. And he just said that you focus on your game and rest will be taken care of. And then the Shakti Doot Yojana was started within a few months, and not just me but so many other athletes have been helped through that, and we've had Olympians from Gujarat after that. And then also same time when I became India number one, I was playing this tournament ITF event in Delhi. At that time also we had a lot of ITF events, I would say, in India, which I traveled. Initially didn't travel a lot outside for the professional events, but we had in India. So I played those, and then my ranking got up to, I would say, around 400 or so. And one of those tournaments was organized by ONGC, and since then I'm also I'm an employee of ONGC. So this is how getting the right kind of support. And then also in 2013 itself I got the clothing support kitting with Yonex Sunrise. And then when I was getting ready for I was one of the probables for Olympics. Both the times actually, when I was the probables, I got the support from Adani Sports.
Yeah, Adani Sports Line.
Yeah, and then currently also I have the support from Puneet Balan Group, who are from Pune. So yeah, getting the right support and right help at the right time is, we all know how important it is. And I would say that even Gujarat Government Sports Authority of Gujarat, they have been behind me and supporting me. Of course, there have been fair share of struggles, but I would say that without all this support, I have reached this position so far with everyone's help.
I mean, I think it's safe enough to say that you have got the right support at the right time. But
Yeah.
hearing all this, I just have, like, I wonder about one thing. In India, we have a tradition that the first salary that we get, it always goes to our parents, right? But being in sports, it's always the first paycheck. Do you remember what you did with your first paycheck?
I gave it to my mom because like you said, obviously I mentioned, I've had the right support by God's grace, but then there have been fair share of struggles, and which they don't come out, only your family and your team knows about it. My mother has also, like, my family has sacrificed so much. She's taken loans for me to go and play a tournament, and also, like, there are many stories. People would come up to her and say that you cannot afford this sport and things like that. So, and still, but doing as a parent, doing whatever is in your capacity and doing your best.
What are your thoughts about, like, just because you spoke about leagues, what are your thoughts about the tennis Premier League that happens every year?
I think it's good. It's good in terms of exposure for the players, if they have some new upcoming players as well, part of the team, and it will be great. It was aired on TV, but I feel that having, as long as it's supporting and helping Indian players and giving them visibility, and obviously creating more awareness for the sport. Definitely, it's great that they have started this initiative, and now they've been having it for the last couple years. So for sure, it's going good. But I still feel that, if it should be more oriented with the Indian players.
Talking more on tennis, you have been one of the 5 women who have played in the Grand Slam main draw. Could you tell us, what that moment meant to you? What exactly happened?
Yeah, so I still have to qualify for singles main draw, and that's hopefully in the near future, and it's in my dream. But yes, I've played the doubles main draw of the slams, and it was a dream come true because, like you said earlier, when was the first time that you decided that this is going to be a lifelong thing? Probably I had not thought about that, but by then I'd already thought about playing a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
So it meant everything. I would say tough to describe in words.
Got it. You've been through Asian Games medals, Federation Cup battles. If I have to ask you, what is the one medal that means the most to you? Which one would it be?
I think Fed Cup, the Billie Jean King Cup 2020, which was in 2020 in Dubai, because the last tie that we played against Indonesia, I won the singles, and then it went to the decider. Within half an hour, played doubles along with Sanya, and I was throwing up after my singles, and so many emotions and anxiety, everything. But after we won that doubles, it was literally, I had to pinch myself that we had qualified. Yeah.
2020 was a very difficult year for all of us, right? And I mean, you just spoke about one of the most favorite moments of your life in the same year, and you trained during the COVID era. So, what did this silent age teach you as an athlete? Like, did it mentally affect you too much? Because, being at the top, it can get lonely at times. So, how did you deal with this period?
Yeah, it felt like if anyone messes with nature, no one is more powerful than nature. But yeah, the other thing was I had never taken such a long break or been home for such a long time.
Yeah.
And so there was also the positive side to it, because I did a lot of other things. Like, I had already started meditation at probably earlier age, but then, like, I did art of living course, and just to brushing up all those skills. And also, I would like to mention that it, like you said, it was a very tough period for everyone, for the whole world, and just pray that it never happens again. But then it was really great from the side of my sponsors, because all of them were checking on me, whether it was SAG and or even Adani back then, as I mentioned, was getting ready for Olympics, and that's they supported me for the Olympic year. And even actually Sai, because I had this incident where firstly I was, I think, getting ready for Olympics, so I had to take special permission to train, and I think this was around probably when it we were hit by the second wave. One more incident is where just before I was about to land in India and then fly to Australia for the Australian Open 2022 January. So I just flew a few days before, so like end of December, and I landed at Delhi airport and I was tested positive. When I flew, I was in the flight. I was tested negative before I boarded, and at 2 a.m. I called the secretary of Sai Pradhan sir, as I mentioned before, and 2 a.m. in the morning, because I tried calling my whole family. No one answered. Pradhan sir answered my call, and one of my friends actually back home, and Pradhan sir helped me with all the all that was necessary to do back then, because I was taken to the hospital directly, and it was one of the, yeah, like that moments really hit, because I was supposed to go and play the Australian Open, and now I was not even sure if I would, because I had to do the quarantine, which was, I think, mandatory at that time for about 10 days. So I was literally going to miss the first slam of the year, and then that period which I was there in the hospital. Somehow I managed, like I finished my quarantine just a day before, and I reached one day before my match. But yeah, really, that was a really difficult time, and then having all the right kind of support, and even actually um, from PM side, during the lockdown, they had various interactions. We had an interaction, all the elite athletes who were getting ready for, say, Olympics, or who have also done the nation proud. So the Prime Minister interaction, even like from the government and from SAI, arranging the interaction with the Prime Minister for so many athletes. So I think it was great, even from there, and making sure that we are doing good. Obviously, everyone was trying to find ways to train at home, and we saw all the creative ways to do that. But then just to check that we are doing good mentally as well.
You mentioned that you have met Mr. Modi a couple of times, right? Or be it an online interaction or in person. Any moment that has been very close to your heart, or an interaction or any incident that has been like, okay, this is something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life?
The first time was probably when I received an award from the Gujarat government, because they had various prize money awards, and when athletes would do well, so we would get that cash prize. So I think that could have been one of the first interactions. But this interaction which I mentioned, which was in 2013 when I became India number one, because that was not I didn't have a prior appointment, and when I went to meet the DG, he said, because it's such a moment of pride for Gujarat, and he checked with the PA, and coincidentally we got a quick meeting with him. So something like that, even when I walked in there, where all the people who had appointments, they were waiting. So just, trying to give time uh, to everyone, and for especially for me, it touched my heart because I was a sports person, and obviously back then I was just coming up, and just the presence and aura. And I remember there was this funny moment, because when I was leaving, sir shook hands with me and he said all the best. And I think that's when they were contesting uh, for the prime minister position, and I as well said all the best. So it was like everyone burst out laughing.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me it was that moment that I had not planned, and I got a meeting, and I got the support, most importantly, so quick. Yeah, I growing up, always I was taught that win or lose, but you have to be honest. You gotta show good sportsmanship.
Yeah.
These are the ideas I've brought up on.
Got it. Any moment, any incident that you remember with an international player? Any funny moment or something?
Hmm, a funny moment with an international player. I'll
Have you
to.
met Sabalenka yet or no?
I've played against Sabalenka actually.
Okay.
There was a tournament in Mumbai. I played against her. It
Yeah.
was a 25K win, but this was
The
back in
WTA event, right?
2017. Sorry?
Yeah. It was the WTA event, right?
No, it was an ITF event. I think she was not very high ranked back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't say funny moments, but something that has stayed with me. Serena has been my idol.
And if you had to send one message to the 13-year-old girl that once dreamt of sitting here, I mean, at this level, what would it be?
Being disciplined, enjoying the sport, and just working hard every single day.
And before we wrap up, we actually have a brand segment called as the winning story segment. Here we look out for a story, an incident, a moment, could be anything. And most importantly, it's not necessary that it has to be about winning. It's just a moment that is very close to your heart. It could be silly, it could be emotional, it could be anything, but it has to be as raw as possible, that okay, we can connect to this, something like that.
I think when I was probably 16,
Yeah.
It's a funny moment, I would say.
Yeah.
Silly one. I was traveling in Morocco with I think I had one more Indian girl with me, but then we both of us were traveling by ourselves, no coach or no family, and we landed at the airport, and we had to take a train to our destination, and it was a different city. And I think back then they spoke only French and Arabic there. We got onto the train, and we're trying to ask around, which is our stop, but
Yeah.
obviously it went in vain. And then so like usual, the train stopped at one of the stations, and we were still asking, and of course how they pronounce it and how we pronounce it, it's going to be different. Suddenly someone like in a higher voice said, yes, this is the place. And when he said that, the train started moving. Now for me, I don't know why I did this, but being an Indian and traveling in Indian trains, I went and I pulled the chain and I stopped.
Oh God.
And I was like, हाँ मतलब प्लेटफॉर्म से थोड़ा बाहर निकल के है, बट हम दरवाजे से उतर के we'll walk to the platform.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, I think probably one of the first train travels abroad, the door wouldn't open because it was an automatic door, and whatever I did was a emergency situation that I did. And then the TT comes and he said, "You'll be fine," blah, blah, blah. And my friend starts crying and then seeing her, I start crying. But then all went well, and it was by God's grace, all good people. He took us to the station master, and station master saw two little girls crying. So they were very nice. They helped us with the fresh ticket to where we had to go, and they took us to the right train and everything.
Was this the cue for you to start learning French and Arabic?
No, but definitely not to pull the chain or
Yeah.
do things that we do in India and we think it's usual. You don't know what it might cost you in another country.
Yeah, that is. So, were you fined or no?
No. But he probably said like 4,000 dirhams or something.
Oh God, that's a lot of money.
Or a
Yeah.
dirham.
I think that wraps up this interview. Really appreciate and thank you for your time. And
Thank you. Thanks.
that's all from us.